We're finally leaving here now. That's it.
2 hours later.
Yo guys, this is my day. This is how my day ends. Like this. Sucks, but yeah. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm back in the familiar surrounding. And what a bloody story it is, let me tell you. And it starts all the way back in 2023 November. Okay, November. I'm gonna tell you the whole story and why I've kind of been not shooting Mercedes stuff or anything like that, or not being like just you can see that's not the same as the usual stuff. I'm already not like doing much because baby came and stuff, but it's not the usual stuff. So what happened was late 2023 I did my timing change, right? I started it on bad timing. Now I'm pretty sure when I started it on bad timing it hurt something. I don't know what exactly, but it definitely hurt something. I think the 27th or something of November. Driving out by Chapman's Peak, and yeah, the motor just made a click and shut off, and it was dead. What happened was, and this is crazy because now I'm gonna insert pictures and stuff like that. But and by the way, this is story time, so you're not technical or anything like that. And your Mercedes-Benz owner, at least a W204, this M271 engine, which is the 1.8 compressor, but the M271 block and stuff itself is the same on the CGIs. But yeah, anyways, what happened was a valve, an intake valve must have hung. Put the thing in here and you got the one intake valve on the left hand side is gone. There's valves everywhere, but not here. This one is totally gone. So it's the intake valve and then an exhaust valve. Right. And hello valve. Yo, the other valve also.
Set to the engine, yes.
Yeah, first in his chops. Intake valve must have hung on cylinder 3. It hit the piston, must have hit the piston, bent, broke, and fell into the cylinder. And that caused all the shenanigans that happened in that cylinder. And I knew something was wrong after I started taking the engine apart after that happened, because I had to get a tow truck to tow me home. Shout out to SS Towing, just so by the way, came in super clutch, okay, towed me from Chapman's Peak. Tow truck don't usually fetch you there, and they did me a solid and got the car. Luckily I parked in such a spot where the car was out of the way of Chapman's Peak traffic. Got home, tore it apart like 2 or 3 days later, and saw nothing was wrong. I thought I broke my timing chain. I did not break my timing chain. Because that was literally the first thing, and until I opened it up, that's all I thought had happened. The timing chain got hurt, and then all the valves hit, and you know, cylinders would not turn all the way, or the cylinders will still turn, but there won't be any compression. Now I did turn it that day when I opened it up, and for some reason I heard compression. So that's why I'm like, hey, wait a minute, there's compression, but it doesn't sound right. So I started taking out the spark plugs to see if I can get the camera down there and look. Spark plug 1 came out fine, looked fine. Spark plug 2 came out fine, looked fine. Spark plug 3 struggled to come out. Like, it took forever and it was very stiff coming out. And when you look at the end of spark plug 3, you kind of figured, yep, that's not normal. Whatever that was, that's not normal. That spark plug was hit the shit. That's when I found out, okay, the valve, you know, that's something hit there. So I threw the camera on and I saw the valve sitting on top of cylinder 3, and that was kind of it for the engine. So the car stood for a bit because it was the end of November, beginning of December. It was now in December. Nothing was open or anything like that. I couldn't find parts, everybody was closed, or I couldn't get hold of people and stuff like that. So for the whole of December it stood, kind of looking at my options. And then January, like the end of January, when Festive was now done, luckily I have my wife's car to move around with, so it's fine. But Festive was done, and now I could start hunting for parts. And my word, what a bloody effort. So what I needed was, at that point, a head, because I knew the head was finished. We took so end of January also took the engine apart, so I knew, okay, I needed a head, and I knew I needed a piston. When we took it all apart, the piston heights of 2 and 3 looked okay, so I figured, okay, it didn't bend the rod or anything. the piston took motor heat, because most of the heat, because the valve went into the piston. Eventually found a head, eventually found a piston. Bought those things and kept it one side. I got the head done over by Daco engineers in Athlone. I've been taking my stuff here for years, so if I have a problem, I take it to them. They're not sponsored or anything. And then when the top of the engine was apart, I noticed when we started cleaning the pistons, when I cleaned the pistons, to now put the head on that day, I realized I have the wrong piston. So yeah, the M271 has 3 different pistons. One is more flat, and then the other one is a little bit more of a divot on it, and then my one has the deepest divot of all the M271 pistons. So my piston has the deep divot, and my intake valves have this like also a divot in them, so they're not a flat-ended valve, or they don't have a small bulge in it. They literally have like a big old divot. So my valve is different, piston is different, and now I realized I have the wrong piston. So looking for other piston was crazy, but looking for the piston at the same time, I found out with my head when Daco had it, my valves guides were a very big effort to get. So the valve guides are normally on the M271, there's 6mm and 7mm valve stems. So the stem of the valve is 6mm or 7mm. You don't know which one you have until you open it up. We realized we have the 7mm one. Could not find cast iron guides. Cast iron guides are the guides that are supposed to be in there. Nobody had. Not Goldwagen, not Masterparts, nobody. Then I found out you get brass replacements. So I found brass guides, 7mm. Now you must understand, all these things are happening every weekend or so, because that's when we're taking the engine apart, and I could see in the week I wasn't doing anything really. So that's why the car has taken this long to get to this point. Got the right piston and everything. Okay, started taking it apart. My mechanic guy took out the piston, when we also realized the rod was bent. Okay, took it apart now. Piston is out, but it's a bent rod also, guys. Like you can see it if you look at it dead on the bottom. Not a lot, literally just tweaked just a little bit, but it's bent, so you need to get another rod. So I had to get a rod and piston. So that was interesting. Eventually found a rod and piston. Merc Center in Ottery came in clutch there with that. And then, okay, now I have everything. I have the head, I have everything. Let's put it all together. This is when you make big dua, man, bro. Before you put the head bolts in, you make moors dua before that. Head bolts doing the wobble.
Is it self-talking head bolts?
Yeah, click. I'm busy using just so there's an M271 engine. Just some random carb cleaner. Akili. And then we realized the engine on the can is this engine. That's M271 engine on the can. That's freak funny. Eventually, we're gonna put it all together. We put the head on, and then I realized my rocker arms are the 6mm rocker arms that come off the C200. Funny enough, you would think it is the bigger valve. So now the head I got was from an older C200, from a W203, and I have a W204. So everything I bought was for a W204, not realizing it's a 203. But I didn't get the rocker arms with the head, so I had to get the rocker arms with the head. That was also a bloody mission to find rocker arms that are 7mm. Kind of cheap, because buying them would have been 2,100 odd rand, and that was now stopping us putting the engine together. Eventually got the rocker arms, put the engine together. Yeah, that took a while. I think that took like 2 or 3 weeks to put together. But when I say 2 or 3 weeks, I mean a Saturday, on this week Saturday, and that was now end of February. Okay, put the engine together.
Let's go.
Is it recording? First start up the roof.
But tell me the other way around this first.
There we go.
Bismillah.
And I drove it for a day. One day I drove it somewhere, drove it back, fine. Drove it, and you must understand, drove it there, everything, and it's just as easy as the car was. We started it again, drove it again the next day, and it started misfiring terribly, absolutely terrible. I didn't put the camera in when I drove that day. For that day, drove it home, towed it home actually. Granddaddy gotta tow you, bruh. Granddaddy gotta tow you, bruh. Yo, that's alright so fast, man. I can't stop. Took the engine apart, I thought maybe something broke. There's a lot of things that can break and make it misfire. The injectors, plugs, coil packs. We checked everything. Everything looked fine. Then me realizing, wait a minute, it's my battery. It's idling. I charged the battery, put everything together, idling normal. I think it's a battery. My battery was bad. My battery was very bad. It was 30% out when I checked it out by a battery center. Got a new battery. And yeah, it sounds like a little things, but happening all on top of each other, after each other, just putting roadblocks in the road every time trying to fix it. And the battery is what sorted it out after we put the engine back together again. So that was the mission. The car is touch wood, no wood here, wood. Oh, there it is. It's driving again. I am taking it very easy. I've only driven 150 kilometers on it so far since we put the battery in now. So yeah, that's how it is. That's the story with my car. It's not a common case, the valve falling in like that is not a common case. The valve's hitting on bad timing when the time chain skips. That's common, but the valve story, not common. So yeah, that's the story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe down below, because this was an absolute mission. I'll see you guys in the next video. I will try and update you again in a bit, but for now, yeah, thanks for watching. I'm out. Bye.